Yeah, yeah. Making her way to the mic. They start dimming the lights. You start feeling alright. From Birmingham, home of the Teddy Longs and the Ruben Studders. More once you discover. For all of the lovers of Whitney Houston and Roman Reigns. For all of the lovers of Mickey James and Marvin Gaye. For all of the lovers of Sasha Banks, Janelle Monáe, Silk, Sonic, and Paige. Allow me to say, look, I just found a place, sweet escape. Every one of us. I was kinda late, so I just made it off the struggle bus. Walking by the fate, cause I know it's right in front of us. Yo, I ain't with the hate, gotta focus on what's great. Ladies and gentlemen, Steph Hardy is on the air. Had to drop a couple bars just to make you all aware. So, sit back, relax, enjoy the show. You know I go by Joe or the rest of the flow, yeah.
Hey y'all, welcome to a new episode of the Hardy Wrestling Podcast with your girl Stephanie Hardy. This is a live vibe, and I do have a special guest, but her screen um is out right now. So hopefully my guest will be in. But thank you guys so much for joining me on this Wednesday evening, Wednesday afternoon. It's so wonderful to be here before you, which is on what's turning out to be an astounding week in professional wrestling. Hopefully, once my special guest is able to get her camera working, we can get started. But I hope you guys are doing well and enjoying everything that wrestling has to offer at this point. Um, yeah, so hey, Casey. All right, hopefully she'll be able to join us really soon. But yeah, there's been so much happening in wrestling at this point that's just so exciting and just so thrilling. Not even just with everything with television and all of the above. Like yesterday, freaking um Sexy Red was on NXT and basically blew up social media, and that was just really insane, as well as a different surprise in the form of Jordan Grace, the TNA Knockouts champion, popping up on NXT to challenge um, Roxanne Perez. So there's just so much amazing stuff going on, and hopefully, um, once all of this gets ironed out and situated, we'll have, an astounding conversation. So I am glad to be on with you guys. We could just hold on for just one moment.
Hello? Oh my goodness.
Hello? Okay, I'm here. Lord have mercy. Um
Oh my goodness,
technical
oh my god.
difficulties, guys.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's
I
okay.
can't hear anything.
You
Wait,
can't hear me right now?
let's see.
Can you
Um,
can you hear me
can
now?
you can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I cannot hear you. Maybe should I leave and come back on? If
Um
yes, shake.
yes.
Okay.
All right, so just as soon as we get our technology and everything straight, we'll move on with the interview. But like I was saying, there's just so much cool stuff happening in wrestling at this point. And of course, I think now is a great time to make this announcement. A new episode of the Hardy Wrestling Podcast with me, just talking about wrestling and the ins and out with news and gossipage will be coming out. If not Friday, then this weekend. I'm going to talk about everything that has taken place in this week. And then on tonight, I'll be on the It Doesn't Matter podcast. So if you listen to that show, please, check that out. And I'll be on there as well. So it's just lots of busy stuff going on. So let's see if our guest is ready. Hello, Kaci.
Hello, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. All right. So I am so happy to
Me?
have this guest on the Hardy Wrestling Podcast. She is the current Black Girl Wrestle Champion, and she has also been featured on AEW television, as well as she's an amazing model and she's a great tag team specialist as part of the Vicious Vixens with Sahara 7. She is Kaci Lennox. How are you, Kaci? Now that we've got
Hey.
everything situated.
Good. I know. I couldn't. I didn't see myself. Could you see me?
At first I couldn't, but then you did come up and then you couldn't hear me. And then I was just like, oh my God, what's going on? But either way, we're here.
Yes, we are here. So sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. So, Casey, I'm going to start by asking you, when did you fall in love with wrestling?
Oh my goodness. I fell in love with wrestling when I was 10 years old. So 2022. I had watched wrestling before that. Like my brother and I just watched it. But I went to my first show in April of 2022 and I seen Tori Wilson and I said, that's what I want to do. So yeah, I fell in love when I was 10 and now I'm still doing it. So it's crazy.
Okay. So, you're kind of a new fan, but then kind of not a new fan at the same time, is what I'm gathering. That's amazing because it's so funny. A lot of the people
No,
in my,
I'm sorry. I said 2022, didn't I?
yes, you did.
2002. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
2002. Yeah.
Man, I'm a 2022. I can't. 2002 when I was 10 years old, not 20
Yes.
when I was 29.
Okay. All right. Well, that definitely, makes sense because that's the basically like moving out of the attitude era into the ruthless aggression era.
Yeah.
And you could say that at that time, though the women were fighting, they were sort of fighting in a way that wasn't exactly the way that we know it now. But at the same time, it's still valid. And Tori Wilson is definitely like one of those pillars when it comes to wrestling and as part of the Divas era because her and Dawn Marie used to scrap, okay? Like they
Girl.
they were amazing.
I fell in love with it at a house show. It was Tori and Dawn and Sable. And they were in one of those like bikini contests or lingerie contests. So it wasn't even an actual match, but like the way that like Tori commanded the audience and like she didn't do anything. She just showed up, took her robe off, and then like everybody is like all eyes on her. That is what made me fall in love with wrestling. And she's strong and athletic, and that's what kind of I was like, wow, I can be somebody who has muscle and is strong, but still sexy, and I can still, command the attention from everybody. So that's what made me fall in love.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that women have. We have that power to, command attention while also being strong and athletic as well. So that's really what women's wrestling is all about is having all of the qualities of a woman while also having, strength as well. So I think that's really great. So when exactly did you decide that you wanted to pursue it as a career?
Um, so that day is when I was like, this is what I want to do. So in Maryland, well, at least the school that I attended, you had to be 18 to train. So I had to wait for 8 years to even step inside a ring. So 10 years old is that's when I knew that, that's what I wanted to do. 18 is when I finally started, and then it's been a whole journey since then. So yeah, had to wait 8 years, but I guess
Wow.
I still did it.
That's amazing. And who exactly was responsible in terms of training you, and what was the best lesson that you learned from them?
So I went to a school ran by Gilbert, and then
Mm-hmm.
it had just opened in Maryland. Yeah. So I went to that school. I was like one of the first students. Um, that's where I went. And then the school, like the lessons that school taught me, um, one person in particular, was just to not listen to what other people say. Like other people are always going to have something negative to say about you, or just a negative comment in general of how you can only get to this place if you do this and that, but it's always in a negative manner, um or they just have like a negative mentality and negative like thoughts about you. You can't let that affect your growth and who you are as a person. Everybody else at that school was great. um the one person who I learned the lesson from, unfortunately, it wasn't that great. They weren't as they were kind of negative towards me. So yeah, that's what I learned from there. You can't always, just because one person says one negative thing, you can't like let that affect your entire uh future, your entire life. So yeah, don't listen to the negativity.
Yeah, absolutely. That can be really hard at times, though, especially when you've heard, depending on your background, it's like when you've heard so much negativity, it's almost like that tends to stick to you more than the positivity. And it's almost to the point to where you don't even like believe it, but you do have to push past it in order to, live the life that you want to live. And I'm glad that, you learned that and that was reinforced when you were learning how to be a wrestler. So, what were some of the greatest challenges that you faced as you were training outside of pushing past negativity? Was there any like physical problems, or was there something you had to adjust to in terms of your body and the changes that was happening with that?
um Physically, I don't want to say there were any problems. I mean, I have like a few health scares. Like I had a blood clot kind of early into my career. So that that like sidelined me for a while. Um, I had uh I forget what it's called because I had it so long ago. It's when your face, like when you lose control of like half your face. Piper Niven had it. Um,
Oh, oh, we lost Casey's image again. All right, so hopefully when Casey gets her camera back, we'll continue the interview. Um, okay, looks like she has returned.
hey, I'm back.
Hey.
Hey.
No, it's okay. Technology is gonna do what it's gonna do, but we're gonna keep rolling on.
Sure. We are. So I had a blood clot. I had Bell's palsy, which those two things kind of the Bell's palsy not as much. It didn't sideline me as much, but the blood clot did sideline me. Um, Other than that, just like various injuries, bumps and bruises. That's all,
Mhm.
I guess, kind of the thing. But that's all things that like was a struggle for me in wrestling. And then I guess just kind of thinking that I am not good enough to do certain things, or that like I can't do certain things, or I'm too tall to do something, or too big to do something, or anything like that. Like that's definitely still a mental struggle. Um, but we're pushing past it. I'm at a good school now. So like I'm surrounded by people who push me to do those things that I want to do and that I think I can do. So yeah.
Absolutely. It's great that you were able to push past those things because for a lot of people that would have sidelined them and it would have stopped them from following their dreams,
Mhm.
but you were able to push past it and continue your wrestling career the way that it is and everything that you've accomplished so far. So that's really, really good. So, how was it when you actually became a wrestler? I won't say full time, but when you were able to go out in the indies and perform on your own. What was that transition like going from that to wrestling school?
So nerve-wracking because I don't want to mess up, you know? Like I don't want to be perfect, but I also like want to have a good match because who knows who's ever going to see that? Like who's ever going to see that match? So very nerve-wracking. Um, but they say that if you don't have the nerves or if you don't have the butterflies, then like do you still care anymore? Like are you like why are you still doing it? Um, so the fact that I was nervous meant that I actually did care, and the fact that I still have butterflies means I still do care. um, but just trying to like remember all the spots and make sure everything is where it's supposed to be, and the moves are as crisp as they're supposed to be and stuff like that. Um, that was the hardest part, I feel. Definitely remembering what I needed to do was the hardest part. But sometimes when you get in your head like that, you know it it can show to the audience. You'll have that deer in the headlights look, and like that's not good. That's not good to have in wrestling. So you kind of just have to like go with the flow. Like, yeah, you can have something called and like plans, but if it happens, okay. If it doesn't happen, who's gonna know that it didn't happen? You and your opponent? Like the crowd's not gonna know. So I definitely have relaxed on that. Like I was way bad. I was so bad trying to make sure I got the whole match in. But that would be the hardest part, yeah.
Wow, that's really cool because I think that a lot of what you said sort of speaks to a lot of the training that I had kind of like in when I was a music major in college, how is they would sort of tell you like if you make a mistake, whether you're in choir or you're doing a solo, that a lot of it is really just picking yourself up and just keeping going because the audience isn't going to know what you know. So you just keep it going. And I think that there is so much in wrestling because, of course, it's an athletic sport, no matter how many times people try to make it seem like it's not, it's a sport. Um, and there's that, and then there's the idea of you as a human having to perform in front of these people that you've never met before in all these various towns and stuff. And you're having to mash all of that nervousness down and and use it to sort of propel you forward to have a great performance and to have a great match. And it's nerve wracking. I could imagine it's very nerve wracking, but at the same time, to have all of that going on in your mind and then to still put on a great show is one of the things that I love about wrestling the most is just watching people like you and athletes like you doing it while also internalizing all of the outside stuff. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
How
No, it's fun. It's definitely a mental game, but you have to have a passion for it to be able to follow through and keep doing what we do. So yeah.
Yeah. So, in terms of your character, who would you say is the biggest inspiration behind it? Because you tend to have a very fabulous aura about you whenever you're in the ring, and you're
Yeah.
very confident. So, who would you say is your biggest inspiration when it comes to that?
Huh. Oh my goodness. Okay. So my character, I would say, I look up to people like Alexa Bliss, Chelsea Green, Carmella. Um, I would say those three are my top, because they're very big, and they're very like, it's not obnoxious. It's just like, oh, I look good. So look at me.
Mhm.
And then I guess my actual character, what I would say, like the sweetest and sassiest, it comes from, or it's derived from, me being a Gemini. So Geminis are often, they're nice and then they're mean. So I'm sweet and then I'm apparently sassy, and that is what everybody who has ever met me has ever said. So it's kind of just like it works because it's who I am. So yeah, I get to be nice, and then when I want to be sassy, I just think of like, what would Chelsea do, or what would Alexa do, and I take a lot of stuff from them. So yeah, those would be my people who I look to.
Those are really great inspirations because it's like their character work is second to none, especially Chelsea Green.
Chelsea is great.
Like,
Deserves everything in the world. We love her over here.
absolutely, and I love her over here too. Like, because I just feel like even in ring, she's a fantastic wrestler. But what she gives you in terms of like facial expressions and her emotions and just her
I
voice is just on 10 every time.
I'm so good. I love her.
And then on top of that, it's almost like their personality just adds to like it. Even though I don't know anything that they truly lack, I feel like their personality just adds so much to what they do in the ring. So I really like that. And then the sweet and sassy part being a Gemini is really funny. It's like you're taking a stereotype about Geminis and just making it yours. And I love that.
Yes, that is it. That is definitely it.
Yeah, shout out to the Geminis watching or listening. We love you. I'm a Virgo, so
Oh, sweet.
yeah, I kind of go with the flow though. Yeah. So, one question I do want to ask is, what are your hobbies outside of wrestling?
I sleep a lot. No, I am a really big fan of anything that's like home organization, or like cleaning your home, and not even like, oh, I'm gonna dust like the baseboards or whatever. Stuff that just makes like your home flow easier, and like look nicer, stuff like that. So like painting. I'm gonna paint my vanity soon, so like things like that. Like my vanity is a dark brown, so I want to paint it a color that is more like brighter and more, open. I want my bathroom to be open, so I'm gonna paint it like a white or like a gray or something like that. But something like things that just make the area feel like light and bright and organized and clean. That is my like passion outside of wrestling, and that's what I would do if like when I'm done wrestling, I want to go be like a home designer, or I want to like do organization. Like they have that show called The Home Edit on
Hmm.
that. I want to do like that. Like that just, I don't know, it brings me passion, or it brings me like joy to see things organized and like light and bright and fresh. So yeah, home design.
That's amazing, and I think that's something that could be like really needed because I find that when it comes to shows like that on HGTV, it's not that many black women in them.
Mhm.
And I would prefer, if that were the case, because I know that there have to be women like of color that are more into that sort of home design thing. So I would find that very fascinating. So I think that's a great quality to have. That's a quality that I do not possess. Um, I don't possess it at all. And, I think that that would be really useful to help a person who just doesn't have that,
Yeah.
put together in their mind. And so you could come and just redo their whole house and just be like, oh, well, this should be here and this moves this way. It also reminds me of my mom too. She's very organizational type of person too.
I love you. That's right now, but like tomorrow it's getting cleaned, because like I can't live in like the disorganization. but
Yeah.
but yeah, I love home design, and I don't even know like when I like fell in love with like organization and redoing things, but it just like it all happened at once, and I just keep doing little house projects and organizing. So it's definitely a passion.
So now that you've mentioned that, it's making me think about how they have Airbnbs with different from different fandoms and such like that. Would you design a wrestling house in that same way?
Ooh, that would be fun. We could make like a little like locker room area, and then have like the ring as the bed or something like that. That would be fun. That would actually be fun. I feel like I've seen that before, like in a kid's room, but we could totally make it for like adults. That would be cool. Have like a little green room for promos and pictures. Oh, that would be fun. Yes, I
Yeah,
would.
that.
I would definitely do that.
Yeah, I would definitely enjoy that. That would be really cool. So, hey, you never know. Casey might design a wrestling house for adults. So, moving back into the wrestling part of your life, I see that recently you were crowned the Black Girls Wrestle Champion, and that is a growing promotion down in Florida. So, with that accomplishment, congratulations to you. And how did it feel? How does it feel to be the first ever Black Girls Wrestle Champion?
So good. It feels it feels good anytime a company trusts you enough to put a championship on you and trust you enough to represent their company. But it really feels good because I feel like sometimes in wrestling, people don't think that I am black. They just think that I'm light skinned or like maybe I'm half white and like Hispanic or whatever. So I feel like sometimes I don't get, um, I guess, love on the
Mm,
black side of wrestling. I don't know if that makes sense. But for this guy who literally he only wants to book black female wrestlers and show love to black entertainers and black athletes and wrestlers and whatnot, it means a lot that he chose me to represent his company. And like he sees me. So yeah, it just means a lot that he has picked me, and we've worked a lot together on different dates and like merchandise ideas. And we're gonna be having our first show in September, like our first like big show. So I'm excited, and I'm thankful to like represent, him and his company and black girls all over. Duh.
yeah, absolutely. And then the fact that, you had a match with Maya World, who's like a rising star, on her own, who's been on the show before, a rising star on her own in wrestling. Like Black women as a whole in wrestling are just becoming more and more prevalent, and I love that. I would have loved it if it had happened when I was a child, but I'm still happy that it's still happening even now as I'm an adult, because it just makes me feel even more empowered on a deeper level to see women like you and Maya and Mia Friday, and even on the larger level like Bianca and Jade and Mercedes Monet doing their thing. Like, it's a blessing. It truly is a blessing to just see all of you, doing your thing and being successful on so many different levels of wrestling. Like, it's wonderful. And if no one, and I'm so happy that Black Girls Wrestle is seeing you and trusting you with carrying your championship for the very first time as it's finding its way. And I just want to let you know that Black woman to Black woman, I want to show you love because I appreciate you. um you're always accepted in my space and in my heart, because I appreciate everything that every wrestler does, but definitely Black women. So I see you and I appreciate you. Absolutely. So, yeah, I understand how that could be, as I mean, I've never been of a lighter hue before, but I have heard that struggle before where it's like no one actually knows what you are. You look ambiguous, so they don't know how to put you in a category. So it's just kind of like, well, what are you? I mean, well, if you listen to me and if you hear what I have to say, you'll know what my journey is.
Right.
And yeah, hopefully you'll have, more chances to let people know who you are and, represent in that way. So, yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. And I do want to ask you, what type of wrestling do you prefer? Because I do know that as you are a single star, you've also had a great tag team career with the as a part of the Vicious Vixens with Sahara Seventh, who's been on the show before as well. So, which one do you prefer, being a singles wrestler or a tag team wrestler with Sahara?
I love tag team wrestling with Sahara because we can get up to so many shenanigans. And she's like we're like yin and yang. Like so she says that she's the good one and I'm the bad one, but I don't think it's that way. I think I'm the sweet one. But like her and I are like yin and yang. I feel that was awkward. We're like yin and yang. Um, I just also like being a singles competitor as well. I feel like I just have had more singles, I guess, like bookings. People want to see more singles action versus tag team action. But I love teaming with her. And I wanna do more stuff with her. It's just that it's either singles action or like they want us against each other. So no, we want to be a team. But I think I would say I like tag more. Just because
Mm-hmm.
it's so much funner. Also, there's more components to a tag match. Like when you're calling it, when you're like actually in the ring. But it's just so much funner for me to do like tag wrestling. So yeah, maybe I'll get a male partner. Me and Sahara will get like a male partner, and we can have like 6-man tags or whatever. We can be like the New Day, just with two.
Ooh, that would be interesting. A faction.
Yes,
Like, that would be really cool. Huh.
I know. We can have their matches. That would be great.
Mm-hmm. That would be really different. I like that. That's cool. So in terms of your growth as an athlete, you have been featured on AEW, which is at this point you can say it is the second largest wrestling promotion in the world at this point. So how did it feel to be featured on there as a talent going up against the best of the best there?
um, super super grateful for AEW. They've opened a lot of doors for me. Um, a lot of my friends work there, so they've also opened a lot of doors for them. But working there is so much fun. The atmosphere is very chill and relaxed, and the matches obviously are super quick. But my last match on AEW was against Madison Rain, and that has quickly become one of my favorite matches. So that's for me, that's a good thing. She's a legend. Um, like literally, I watched her in Impact or TNA,
Mm-hmm.
and I try to emulate their entrance all the time. Try to do the whole like through the second rope, look at my butt. Um, so that's one of my favorite matches. She was very giving in that match with me. She was open to ideas that I had. And I hadn't had that in a match at AW Dark before. So I think that's also why it stands out to me. But also, it was just that she's a legend. Like, it's Madison. But I got to work with Nyla Rose. I got to work Anna Jay. Working with Nyla was fun because I got to work with Vicky as well, because she was her manager at that time. And kind of getting to work with work with Vicky and Nyla, like Vicky primarily. I used to watch her on TV. Like she would come out with Eddie, and like for me, it's kind of a full circle moment, you know. Getting to work with people who I admired on TV years ago, to being able to like work side by side with them is like one of the coolest things in the world, and it's still one of the coolest things. Maria's another one that is back there often, and I was doing promo photos and she was showing me how to, because I've never been in a fight, like an actual fight. um we were doing promo photos and she was showing me how to like not leave your thumbs out, because like you break your thumbs or you break your fingers if you leave them out. So she was like, put your thumbs inside of your fingers, so you know you're ready to go. Something like that. I think that's what it was. I still don't know how to fight, so if I do this, probably gonna get messed up. But like getting advice from her and watching her on TV, like she was someone who I also admired growing up in wrestling. She had this saying, passion is my motivation. And I had that on my like Facebook header for a very long time, because it meant something to me. So like getting to work with people who I grew up watching on TV and getting advice and you know, just being side by side with them, it's so full circle and it's so cool. And I'll have those moments forever. So yeah, I love being at AW. I want to go back.
And I'm pretty sure at some point, since you had that great of an experience, you would go back and then maybe you'll have that all elite sign, that hashtag all elite. Kaci Lennox is all elite. Like, That would be interesting and
I
cool.
do it, AEW. You hear this, Tony?
Come on, Tony. Sign Casey. But yes, that's really great that you had those experiences with so many amazing legends, and also legends in the making too, because a lot of those people are still out here doing the dang thing, wrestling, and there's so much more that they have to offer. So the fact that, yeah, you had that experience, it's just something that you will soak in forever and just take those lessons with you. So that's really great. So, if you were able to face any women's wrestler from any era, who would it be and why?
Ooh. Um, so this is my answer for this question all the time. I would wrestle Mercedes. People always say that we look like twins. I feel like she I don't want to say we have a similar move set, but she is often like off of her feet. Like she likes to do I want like a lot of lucha stuff. Like she's like flying in the air, there's jumping off of ropes or whatever. And I like to do that stuff. I don't necessarily do it in matches all the time now, just because buddy space for me. But I want to have a match with her so that people can stop saying we look alike and just see like what we can do, like twin versus twin. So that would be cool. I
Yeah.
I want to wrestle. I've wanted to wrestle like Tori. I feel like if Tori was trained, and I say this all the time, if she was like in this I guess division or like this group of women, I feel like definitely excel. And it'll be a good match. She'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah, those are two very good answers, from two totally different eras. And I have noticed, in the past where I've seen pictures of you where you do kind of favor Mercedes, but I've made it my business to differentiate the two. So, that's just what I've done mentally. And, Mercedes is my favorite, women's wrestler of all time. Like, I call her the GOAT. And of course, last week she ruffled feathers by calling herself the GOAT. But then again, the proof is in the pudding. It's there, but we're not gonna get into that today. Um, but either way, I hope you do get to face her in the future, and say, if, for instance, if you do, get into AEW, like she could still be there, and the both of you guys could fight each other, and that would be amazing to witness.
Amazing. That would be good. Yeah. That would make me happy. That's exciting, actually.
Absolutely. So, last question. Um, what would you say the future holds for you, Casey?
I don't know. I don't want to speak on anything. Like, I don't want to say like, this is what I'm going to do. But what I want to do, I would love to obviously be signed by a major company. That's probably everybody's goal. Um, but I also, I want to be the inspiration that Tori was for me. I want a little girl or a little boy or a grown man or a woman or whoever to be in the crowd and look at me and say, wow, she's strong. She's sexy. She looks like she can beat some ass. And I want them to say, I can do what she's doing, or I can do whatever I have my heart set to. So that's like my ultimate goal. That's always been my goal in wrestling, is to just be able to inspire people the same way that Tori inspired me, even if it's at just an indie level or if it's me being on TV. And then I would also just love to like make a household name, make a worldwide household name, and be able to survive off of wrestling. So yeah, those two. But I really want to just be an inspiration. That's what it was when I got into wrestling, and that's what it still is.
Well, I'm sure you are an inspiration already, and you will continue to be one as you go into your wrestling career. And I am so excited for your future. And I'm just so grateful that you decided to come on my show and grace HWP with your presence. So thank you so much for coming on, and just tell everybody where they can find and follow you and what you've got going on.
Yeah, you guys can follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. It's Real Kaci Lennox, so Real Kacilennox, on all three socials. You can find my merchandise on my site at kacilennox.com. You can find additional links in my link tree on my bios. And then I have so many shows coming up. I'm so busy this month. I'm going to be in Wisconsin coming up, going for the championship with Heather Reckless. I'm going to be, I have a Florida show this month, so I get to stay home for one weekend. And then I'll be flying out to California, Arkansas, and then I have a show over in Daytona. So yeah, I have a busy few weeks coming up. And it's my birthday this month, so I'm gonna take a little. I know. My birthday's on the 18th, so, or not this month, next month. Sorry, June. My birthday is June 18th. So we'll be taking a little like mini vacay in between all the crazy travel days. But yeah, that's kind of what I got coming up.
Well, that's great. Happy pre-birthday.
Thank you.
Yes, I wish, you know how there's a word for belated? I wish there was a word for before.
I know.
Yeah, that would be fun if we found that out. But of course, you know, you can find me, your girl Stephanie Hardy, on Instagram and Twitter/X at Queen Steph Hardy, and follow the show, The Hardy Wrestling Podcast, on Instagram at Hardy Wrestling Podcast, and on Twitter at Hardy Wrestle Pod. This interview will be up on the YouTube afterwards, so you will catch it if you haven't watched it. If you didn't watch it live, and you can listen to the audio later on tonight, and of course on into the rest of the week as I share clips. Please share and like and subscribe to the channel as well. And just continue to follow and support HWP as it continues to grow. So, Kaci, again, thank you so much for sharing your time with me on this show. And hopefully, you can come back at any, point in time. Please come back and pay me a visit. So, of course, this has been the Hardy Wrestling Podcast with your girl Stephanie Hardy and Kaci Lennox. And until next time. Bye, y'all.